Okay, so now we're gonna finally look at some real code instead of all datasheet stuff. Um, so in this example, I'm gonna set the analog to digital converter to just sample one channel and keep giving us the update, the value that it reads. And here's what's printing out to the screen. I'm turning up a potentiometer here, and as you can see, it's reading the values. If you see it flickering like that, is because it's a pretty good resolution. It's 12-bit, so it's probably sensing any little changes in voltage, and that's why it's flickering like that, because it's not going to be 100% DC voltage, so there's going to be little flickers, and the ADC will pick that up. Alright, so let's see how I implemented this. And again, to understand this, you will probably need to watch the video before this, part 1, so you can see what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Now the code is it's really not that much. It's this is just RCC and GPIO stuff. The actual ADC registers is this right here, which some of these lines are comments, so it's really not that much code. This is just printing to the screen. This is the interrupt handler, and that's about it. This is just delays and the SysTick handler for the delay. This is my debug function that I use with my printing thing that I made. You can ignore these X's. I don't know why this ID does this, but there's no errors in there. Anyways, let's go over the ADC code. So first things first, we're going to go to the RCC register, because if you recall, the clock to the ADC cannot exceed 14 megahertz. That's what it said in the data sheet. So what's going on here? My taskbar is frozen. No, it's not. It's this thing. Let me just minimize this. So yeah, so according to the data sheet, the ADC clock cannot exceed 14 megahertz. So we're gonna go to the RCC register, to this specific RCC controller. We're gonna go to that specific register. Here's the RCC registers, and that configure register has this these bits right here, which say ADC prescale, and I'm gonna go ahead and zoom into that. So there they go. It's 15 and 14. So if we scroll down to 15 and 14, here you go. You see ADC prescaler. This should say 15 and 14. Ooh, I found a typo in the data sheet. Anyways, you can see here, the minimum we need to do is divide by 6, because that will give us 14 megahertz. So we're gonna take the ADC clock, and we're gonna take, I'm sorry, not the ADC clock, the CPU clock, and do a little calculation here. If we divide by 4, so we take 72 million, and if we divide by 4, that will give us 18 megahertz, which is too fast. Or we can do, so that means divide by 2 will still be too fast. That's 36. 72 divided by 6 will give us 12. So we'll be running at 12 megahertz. That's the best speed we can get on the ADC. So that means a 1 into the second bit, which would be bit 15. But again, there's a typo here. So we would put a 1 over here and a 0 over here. But again, when you look at your the header file here for your chip, when you look at this header file, it has the bits defined. So if you find the section where it starts talking about the RCC and then the configure register, you'll see these definitions here that'll take care of that for you. So here you see RCC ADC pre-register divide by 6. And if you take this number, I don't know why I go over this every tutorial, but I guess maybe somebody will watch a video and they won't know why I got that from. so I guess it'll help somebody. So hex 8000, which is what this is defined to hex 8000. That puts a 1 on the 16th bit, which is bit number 15, which is exactly what we need, a 1 over here on the 15th bit. So you can just put that definition. So then that's what I have here, where I put RCC config register, and I ordered with that definition, which is hex 8000, which puts a 1 into that bit. Alright, so I'm not going to explain where I got these from again, because they're coming from here, and they are they just put the values that we need where we need them. So we're gonna go to the RCC clock, the RCC control register again. This time we're gonna enable the pins for the that we're gonna. Well, first we're gonna enable the GPIO port that we're gonna use. In this case, it's GPIO A, and you can look in your data sheet or the pin out for the microcontroller. So I'm gonna use channel 5. I believe it's channel 5. Yeah, I'm going to use channel 5, which is on the A register. A GPIO. I'm going to enable the alternate function, and I'm going to also enable ADC1. And all of these are on the APB2 enable register. All three of those things are on the same register, so we can just enable all of them right there. Then I'm going to configure my pins, which is going to be GPIO A5 to input push pull. Right, because we're reading a voltage on it, so it's going to be an input, and push pull because the voltage is going to pull the pin either high or low, so an input with push pull. And that's the configuration that you need. You need a 1 in the 1th bit and a 0 in the 0th bit to set that configuration. Again, you should already be familiar with this stuff if you've been following my videos, that is. Alright, so now we're going to do some actual ADC stuff. First things first, we're going to enable the end of conversion interrupt in the control register 1. So, control register 1, right here, bit 5. Enable the end of conversion interrupt. So that's going to give us an interrupt every time it finishes sampling or conversion. That interrupt has an interrupt handler associated with it, which we'll define later, and also an NVIC line, of course, like any interrupt. And now we're gonna enable that interrupt on the NVIC line. We call this function that's provided by ARM, and we're just enabling that interrupt. As you can see, ADC1 and ADC2 share the same interrupt line, so it's basically just one line for everything. Alright, now we're going to set the sampling rate, which is in sample register 2. So we're going to go to sample register 2. And I'm using channel 5. That's why it's in sample register 2. Because I'm using here channel 5. If I were using something like channel, I don't know, 16 or 15 or whatever, then it would be in sample register 1. So we're going to sample register 2, and we're going to set the, I set my cycles to the max, so it takes the most readings. You'll get better readings, like I said, but it'll take longer. But then again, we're talking about megahertz here, so it's, to me, visually, it's not going to take longer. I won't be able to tell the difference anyways. Not to mention, my data rate over here for the UART is 96 kilobits per second, so that's really the actual speed that I'm able to actually see. So anyway, so we're going to set the sampling rate here on channel 5 on SMPR2, and that's what I did here. So I set all those 3 bits for that channel 5 to high, which corresponds with that setting that I was talking about. With here, all these 3 bits to 1 will give me that setting. Alright, now we're going to set the channel in the sequence registers, because remember that even though we're not doing scan mode, we still have to give it a sequence, and it's just going to be a sequence of 1. So here's the sequence register. Now if we were doing more than one channel, obviously in the length, this little area that's called L, which is length, you tell it how many conversions you're going to have, 1, 2, or 3 different conversions up to 16 or whatever. Since we only have one conversion, it's the default, it's just 0 0, so that's why I'm not going to set anything there, because it's already that value by default. As you can see here, the entire register is 0 0. So I'm not going to worry about that, because 0 0 equals 1 conversion. So now that it knows it has to do 1 conversion, it's going to go to sequence 1 and just do that first conversion. So I'm going to go to that sequence register 3, and in here in sequence 1, which is the first conversion in the entire sequence, like I explained in the previous video, that sequence 1 does not correspond to channel 1. Sequence 1 just means what channel do you want to do first in the sequence, what channel do you want to do second in the sequence, what channel do you want to do third in the sequence. Alright, so again, I repeat, here you tell it how many channels are you going to do. Are you going to do all 16 channels, or just 3 channels, or just 4? Right? Again, in our case, we're doing just 1, so it's 0 0, 1 conversion. And then we're going to actually tell it what we want that first sequence to be. And in here, we're going to just write the number 5, because that's what we want. We want to do the first sequence to be on channel 5, which is the one we're using. So channel 5 is a 1, 2, 4, a bit here and a bit here. I mean a 1 here and a 1 here, and that's basically what I've done here. A 1 in the 0th bit and a 1 in the bit index number 2, which will give you a 5. You can also write it like this. I mean, really, whatever you prefer. You could do a 5, shift it into the 0th place, right? That'll give you the same effect. It'll take the number 5 and shift it into here, which will place that other bit over here. So that always works. Then we're going to enable the ADC for the first time and set it to continuous mode, and that's in the same register. Both of those are in the same register, which is control register 2. So yeah, if you want to see that, there it is. ADC on, that turns the ADC on, and then this sets it into continuous mode, because I want it to always constantly keep doing the conversions, in other words. And then I'm going to put a delay of 1 millisecond, because if you remember from the previous video, I told you that the datasheet says, I guess I can show it to you guys here too. The datasheet says that right here, that the when the AD on bit is set for the first time, it wakes up from power down mode, and then the conversion starts when the AD on bit is set for the second time. So we have to do it 2 times to actually turn it on. But in between the first and the second time, you have to wait a certain time, which is T stab or T stab, which is the time it takes for the ADC to stabilize. So between the first time that you wake it up from power down mode and the second time that you do this, you have to put a little delay. It doesn't specify. I mean, I didn't really look into it too much, what the actual time is, but I just put a 1 millisecond delay, which I'm sure is more than enough. And that's it. And so I do that. I turn it on for the first time. I set it to continuous mode, and I turn it on for the first time. I put a delay, and then I turn it on for the second time, and then I put another delay, because now I'm going to call this and this delay is not necessary. Oh, actually it is, because I'm going to call the calibration bit, right, which is also in the same register, control register 2. So this will calibrate it, right? And you should do this every time you turn it on. That's what the datasheet says. Every time you turn the ADC on, you should calibrate it. Every time you turn your microcontroller on, basically, and if you're going to use the ADC, you should calibrate it. So this bit where are we here? Bit 2. There it is. Calibration, enable calibration. This says calibration completed. So in reality, what I should do is put a while loop that checks this bit until it's 0, and then when it's 0, the while loop should end. That would be a proper way to do it, because as you can see, when it's 0, that means the calibration was completed. So instead of doing this, what I did here, where I did the calibration and then I delayed 2 seconds, in other words, waiting for it to complete, the proper way would be put this in a while loop and wait for it to equal 0. Once it equals 0, then that means it's done calibrating, and then you can go on with your code. So yeah, that would be the proper way to do it. I should have done that. Anyways, here I'm gonna print the value, but let's go to the interrupt handler. So the interrupt handler, it's nothing more than just like a regular interrupt handler. And what I'm doing here is I'm going into the status register and I'm checking that end of conversion flag, because remember, it's only going to call, since we enabled that end of conversion interrupt, it's going to come here at the end of that conversion. If you go to the status register, you read right here, it says this bit is set by hardware at the end of a group channel conversion, regular or injected. It is cleared by software, okay, or by reading the data register. So we don't have to physically go in and clear it, because just this right here, reading the data register, will clear it. So that's that. And val here is just a global variable I made up top. So whatever the contents is of the data register, whatever my sample is, I'm putting it into val. And then here I'm saying if val is not equal to 0. Oh, no wonder it doesn't go to 0. Anyways, so yeah, so I don't really even need that there. I'm just gonna print the value of val into this little message here with a 10 millisecond delay, just because I want to be able to see it, upload it, and well, there it is. It's it reads the analog to digital converter. That's why it wasn't giving me 0 value, because I had that if statement that if it's not equal to 0, then it would skip the loop. Anyways, so yeah, it's pretty easy and straightforward. And you'll see in the next video that doing the scan mode, when we're doing multiple channels, it's not that much more difficult. About 3 or 4 lines that have to do with the DMA and enabling that in the RCC or whatever we have to do to it. And that's it. And then we'll just have to, print out our values again, and I'll show you that in the next video. Alright guys, so I hope this helped. If you have any questions concerning this, or I didn't make any sense, or anything, let me know, and stay tuned for the second video, which will go into scan mode, basically sampling multiple channels.